Thank you. No, I think he's keeping both the options open because these talks which are going on, or mediation efforts in Tehran, I think they are at a decisive stage. And it's kind of, it could be make or break session, this one. So we never know because there have been ups and downs, and looks like that the positions of two sides, both sides are actually quite rigid, and they have their own, stance. And that is why President Trump is saying that, if it doesn't work out, then we have this option, kinetic option. And according to media reports, several media reports which I have seen, um, the mobilization is going on. In fact, in Israel, U.S. aircraft are deployed, refueling aircraft. So one never knows. But I think the Trump administration would like to reach some kind of some kind of arrangement or understanding it, even if it is interim, because I don't think that they are in real. I mean, really inclined. I'm talking of the Trump administration or President Trump himself, not even the administration. That he's not inclined to go for another military, operation. I think, but of course he has. The pressure from the hawks within the administration, as well as the pro-Israeli, elements and the Israel itself. So that is how the scenario looks like right now. So much would depend actually what happens. I mean, what is the outcome of Field Marshal Asim Munir's visit, because there is also a Qatari delegation there, which is trying, and hectic diplomacy is going on right now in terms of exchanges and telephone calls, etc. So let's see what happens. But we are, I mean, the situation is really at a critical juncture. Quite right. These are the key issues. And if there was no progress there on the Strait of Hormuz and on the nuclear issue, which was which was the reason, which was the rationale for U.S. attack on Iran, if that is relegated, puts for the time being on a back burner, then I think President Trump would not have any locus standi, justification to sell it to his own people. That America accepted an arrangement which somehow did not include even a discussion. I mean, did not include the nuclear program of Iran. So even if it is an interim or provisional agreement between Iran and US, it has to have some clauses whereby, for instance, it would say that yes, okay, we are reaching this agreement or this understanding on the Strait of Hormuz. And as far as the nuclear issue is concerned and other issues, within 30 days, within 15 days, we will get on to the talks and we'll start discussing. So that would also be a safety clause for President Trump. But I don't know where things stand because we are not, of course, we are not privy to as to what is going on. His visit can be interpreted in two ways, in my view. One is that both sides had narrowed down on their differences on the core issues, on the key issues, and that an agreement or understanding was imminent. This is one interpretation. The other interpretation is that certain problems existed, although they were near to an understanding, but some problems existed, which our mediation is trying to resolve in terms of messaging and counter messaging. And some media reports also indicate that Pakistan has taken in this latest visit to Iran by Mr. Mohsen Naqvi and now by Field Marshal, they are sort of conveying American sort of, position, not position, but proposals, suggestions to move forward. So we don't know whether this visit is to give a final kind of, push to reaching an understanding, or an understanding is already there, and now that is going to be, kind of concretized by the visit of Mr. Asim Munir. No, I have all along watched Qatar's position, and I think they have been amongst the key Gulf countries, Saudi Arabia too, and Qatar has been quite rational despite being attacked by drones and some missiles by Iran. Their reaction has been somewhat balanced and not provocative like some others. So all along, I've seen that it has been a kind of a moderate stance, reaching out to Iran, telling them that you should not engage in hostile acts against us, and so that is why I think the Qatar has these credentials to play a positive and a constructive role. And so are others. I mean, Turkey is also, putting its pressure. They have been Saudi Arabia, its own pressure on Iran. So Iran that way is under tremendous pressure by its friends, by its neighbors in the Gulf, as well as by other key countries. I can't say that both of them should be needing the deal now, because this cannot sustain this kind of conflict or stalemate. Because I was reading today, for example, the plight of the sailors who are stranded for the last 2 months, more than 2 months probably. I mean, they are running out of medicines, they are running out of food, and there are medical issues also. So I think there is a human dimension also of this thing. I mean, blockade is not that you it's kind of a tit for tat. America has done a blockade, so there is a counter blockade, or vice versa, whatever. So I think this human dimension should also be kept in mind. And of course, the economic aspect of this blockade. It is affecting the world economy. It is affecting the Asian economies, Gulf countries themselves, Iranian economy also. So I think it is in the interest of all parties, particularly these two parties. I mean, America is not that much affected because America is a superpower, frankly. And America is more or less self-reliant in energy resources. It doesn't need any energy from the Gulf. Europeans do. Europeans need gas and all that, particularly because this war in Ukraine is going on, and their relations with Russia are at a standstill, basically. So I mean, they are somewhat dependent on the Gulf, but you have this trade and supply chains, which are everything is disrupted and disturbed. So my point is that it is in the interest of the international community, it's in the interest of Iran, it is in the interest of United States that this trade thing is resolved, settled, and then they move on. I mean, of course, Iran is justified in demanding complete cessation of hostilities, permanent cessation of hostilities, including in Lebanon. It's justified. And I think all rational countries reasonable. I mean, this is a very reasonable position. But at the same time, whether Iran is, calculating right in terms of its expectation that it will be able to leverage its, this control of Hormuz to an extent whereby it will force USA to concede, their demands. But my point is that I mean, superpower has the military potential and this and that. So worst coming to worst, they can again go for a strike. So it's a very difficult situation. No, a Strait of Hormuz control has to be, regulated, and that way Iran and Oman are littoral states, and that way, prima facie, they have, they can claim a right to that they will manage and administer the international navigation. To an extent, probably that position may be tenable. But as far as the toll is concerned, applying tolls, it has to be, worked out through a package. So if that is the breaking point, imposition of toll is the breaking point, because we don't know what's going on, right? So then I think uh, that point can be sort of resolved if both sides make some concessions, or show some flexibility. But how long? Indefinitely, the strait cannot be, I mean, the navigation cannot be stopped. And also, it is not in the interest of either party to sort of go again for a military encounter. It's not good, because it will create a lot of, I mean, other than the crisis will magnify, but it will result in huge human and material loss. It's a given. Middle ground is that Iran's claim is right, number one. You cannot deny an NPT party to have legitimate enrichment capacity for its civilian nuclear program. And that can be monitored by IAEA, by international inspectors. It's not something, I think, totally unjustified, expectation from Iran by United States, frankly. And this is where your first question comes into picture, that this is a coercive, approach. And I think Iranian Foreign Minister has spoken to the UN Secretary General on this particular issue today, on its right under the NPT, signatory to be allowed that enrichment. They were allowed, I think, 3.67%. So that kind of threshold can be maintained under international supervision. So that way, those demands which are being made, so which means that if both parties take such a rigid stance and rigid positions, then why are we talking? Why the negotiations are going on? If you don't show flexibility, if either party is not showing flexibility, then why are we wasting time in this diplomacy? So that means, because, for example, Pakistan is doing this earnestly, because Pakistan wants to diffuse tensions and diffuse this crisis, because it is in our own interest also, and it is in the interest of the region and the world itself. So, but if no flexibility is there by either side, then what's the point of carrying on with this, negotiating strategy or whatever? One can say that, of course, you see, whether you describe it as hardline or hawks or whatever, one must keep in mind that Iran, the regime in Iran, is ideological. It is a revolutionary government. They have not lost that revolutionary steam, despite so many conflicts which they have faced in the last 47, 48 years. Sanctions, restrictions, embargoes. Yet, Iranian nation, Iranian people have stood bravely in the face of these tactics and this intimidation. So credit should be given. Now, one must understand, or try to understand, that what is being described as hawks or hardliners, of course, if you attack a country, every now and then, you attack a country every now and then, and when on two occasions at least, one was near reaching an agreement on the core issue, nuclear issue, and then what is that nation expected to, pretend that it will retain all the, it will remain soft in the face of aggression, and that too, if it is an Iranian government which is driven by ideology and, this revolutionary fervor. So, and the fact that after this attack, Iranian people have, despite internal, problems and challenges and opposition, we saw the demonstration. But now Iranian people, Iranian nation looks united. around that regime, around that government. So it's a wrong calculation. Yes, they are, you can say they are hardliners. They will adopt a hardliner stance. They cannot be expected to capitulate and surrender, obviously. So if Trump administration is, perceiving that to be a very tough line, even if it is split is there, so what? They have to deal with them. I mean, even if the dispensation comprises hardliners, they have to deal with those hardliners. There's no other way.